Okay, Outsiders Podcast. Clint Schweitzer, Noah Groniger here, and we are on the line with a very special guest. We got Maurice Leggett on the line. Maurice, of course, came in 2008 with some other good corners, Brandon Flowers, Brandon Carr. But Maurice, thanks for being on. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and I want to go back to the start of your career. You came in, like I said in the intro, you came in with Brandon Carr, and Brandon Flowers, and you from Valdosta State. Talk about, coming into the NFL that year in 2008, being picked up by Kansas City and, from a smaller school and being undrafted, and just kind of tell us how your journey to the NFL started.
The journey was actually, I guess, different for me and weird. I was expected to be, a great guy coming out of college, but making it to the NFL, there was a lot of uncertainty, from my mental standpoint, even though I believed in myself talent-wise. A lot of scouts said I was too slow, not strong enough. So, and I didn't have, that many opportunities to prove my skills. So it was just a lot of uncertainty for, on that end.
Can you talk about coming in with Brandon Carr, both of you from Division II, you from Valdosta State, and Brandon from Grand Valley State, and if you two connected?
Oh, we connect all the time. Out of our 4 years of, college experience, he's won 2 national championships, and I've won 2, and we actually met at the Cactus Bowl before the draft, and we talked a lot, so we've already known each other, since that from January to that May, and we kept in touch.
And now absolutely. In 2008, you come in, you wind up seeing a lot of time, in nickel situations as a rookie. I mean, so you're talking about Carr, Flowers, you playing a large percentage of the downs in the defense. I mean, talk about how that was just coming in as a rookie and playing in the NFL for the Chiefs.
It was a great situation to be in. They were looking for young guys to, show the talents, and we meshed wonderfully, and we had some coaches that believed in us. Even if we made a mistake, they would love to give us a second chance to redeem ourselves. And we took pride on that, and we talked off the field to have great chemistry on the field, and know what our tendencies are and what we need help on.
How did you come in and make an impact so early? You and Brandon being from Division II, it seemed like you picked things up quick and were both great, had great coverage skills.
We diamonds in the rough. You can find talent under a rock, and we both worked hard, and then we wanted to prove ourselves that we can play on the same stage as Division I.
I mean, so of course we go into 2009, and the coaching situation changes. Talk about how your relationship was, with Herm Edwards, and then what happened in 2009 when Todd Haley came in and the whole regime changed.
The relationship with me and Herm Edwards, it was different from for most athletes and stuff. Everyone has their guys, but the guys joked around and called me Little Herm, around the locker room, and it was just different. But it's a business, and just the coaching style was different. The coaching style was different. You had very little room for error. In 2009, and people were on edge. That also had us. We wasn't relaxed. We were too tense, and we were too worried about making a mistake, and we ended up making more mistakes than what we should have.
Well, I mean, I still think that your time here was, I think it was a success. Coming from a small school, you got to come in and start in the NFL, play a lot of downs. I remember, in fact, I think it was the 2008 season might have been 2009 against the Raiders. You pretty much turned that game around, I think, with a big interception, pick 6, I believe. I mean, talk about that and just, your memories of what it's like as a defensive back to see that play develop, pick it off, and take one to the house.
That was special teams in 2008, and it was just everyone doing their job, and I pride myself on doing my job, whether it's just watching a guy that's not even moving. So I just went through my progressions and made the play, and just made a football play, and the coaches believed in me, that year. So I didn't have to worry about what if I make this mistake, what if I'm wrong. I just had confidence that if I make a mistake, then I'll have another down to redeem myself and make the play on the next one.
Can you talk about your injury situation? What really happened, and how did you try and come back from that?
What injury last year?
In 2010 specifically, and I believe it was the Eagles preseason game at home where you got hurt, and then kind of what happened, the neck injury, what happened from there.
Well, the injury against the Steelers, I actually dislocated it and had surgery. I actually came back a lot quicker than expected, and that's my hometown, so I wanted to put on a show, and it hurt me. And then the next year with the neck injury, really I felt like I was ready to play, but the way they ruled it a concussion, so that put me out for the entire year. And I've changed my regimen, the way I eat, the way I sleep, and the way I actually train in the off season to prepare myself.
Well, and of course, in 2011, you found yourself with Gunther Cunningham down there in Detroit. Just tell us about your experience in Detroit, and then what your plans are going forward, because a lot of us know that you're still got a lot of football in you, and just kind of give us a little update on what you're up to.
Oh yeah, reuniting with Gunther Cunningham, that's just amazing. He had 100% confidence in me, and I played my tail off for him, and I wouldn't mind doing it again and bettering myself. It's a system I was comfortable in. He made sure I was comfortable, and my performance went through the roof. And now I'm just training. I'm getting ready. Whoever picks me up, it's a seal, and whoever decides not to pick me up, that's their curse. That's how I feel.
Oh, definitely. Have you been keeping track of the NFL this year? Been watching? What do you think of the replacement refs? We got the real refs back in there, and just your takes on the NFL season so far.
I've watched, a lot of primetime games. I've been spending more time with my family, with my kids. But from what I've seen, the close calls, you can't say anything about the close calls. You shouldn't put yourself in that situation. That's how I feel.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, you saw a lot of whining going on the first few weeks. Ray Lewis trying to intimidate these replacement refs. Of course, the Packers whining after that. And I mean, it was a bad call, but you're like you said, you got to put yourself in a better position. So I mean, going into now into 2012 and 2013, can we look to see? I mean, have you been in contact with any teams, and what is your agent getting you out there still, or?
My agent's still he's trying. He's doing all he can. The unfortunate thing is were my injuries. So and I'm 100% now, and I don't think the way I've been training, I don't think no one trains as hard as I do. 90% of the guys there can't last one day of my new training regimen. So I'm actually ready for it, and we'll just see what happens from there.
Well, give us a little breakdown of the training regimen, and tell me, because you always hear about people talking about being in football shape. People that haven't been on the field hitting in a while or whatever. But give us a rundown of your regimen, and then how you'd feel about being in quote unquote football shape right now.
The new regimen I have is the West Side training method, which the Russians brought over here, and most of it is position based and sports specific based. They have there's different, and I do a lot of yoga and Pilates, and I actually stay away from sweets, no Play-Doh ice cream or anything like that. I actually just change the way I eat. So that's part of your regimen, and it helps you rest. Got rid of a lot of stress, so just not worrying about what's going to happen next. I'm just focusing on when I do get out there.
I see it's your birthday tomorrow. Got anything big planned?
No, I actually don't. I have training tomorrow, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, hey, you're very serious, about staying in shape, staying ready. And I'll tell you what, we get this thing going. We would love to have you back in Kansas City. If I have to make the call myself, I will gladly bring you back because our secondary has been a little shaky since getting rid of you and Brandon Carr. I'll just be honest.
Yeah, chemistry. You have to have chemistry. Everyone has to do their job as well. So I haven't watched any of the Chiefs games, but from a secondary standpoint, from a defense, if you believe in that man next to you, which is that chemistry, then you wouldn't have to be worrying about doing their job and yours, which creates holes in the defense.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Well, I'll tell you what, Maurice, we're about out of time here on the Outsiders podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. Good luck. We're going to be looking for your name out there, and we know we'll see you back in the NFL again soon, my man.
All right, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Maurice.
Take care.